Listen carefully, because what I'm about to tell you might sound unbelievable at first. But stay with me till the end, because this is where most people make a mistake and miss the real opportunity. Imagine holding a simple 25-cent coin in your hand, something you might ignore every day, and suddenly realizing that this exact coin is being talked about all over the internet, auctions, and collector circles as a potential life changer. I'm talking about the 2022 Maya Angelou United States quarter dollar. And no, I'm not joking. This is not a fantasy story. This coin entered circulation in 2022 as part of the American Women Quarters program. From that very moment, collectors' eyes locked onto it. Maya Angelou is not just any name. She is a symbol of strength, freedom, literature, and civil rights. This quarter became historic instantly because she was the first black woman ever featured on a U.S. quarter. That single fact alone made this coin emotionally powerful, culturally heavy, and historically unique. Coins like this don't need hundreds of years to become important. Sometimes, history is created the moment metal hits circulation. Now here's where the suspense really starts. Millions of these coins were minted, yes, but rarity doesn't always mean low mintage. Rarity can mean condition, errors, variations, and timing. The 2022 D-Mint mark tells us it was struck in Denver, and among these, collectors started hunting for unusual strikes, off-center designs, double dies, missing details, weak strikes, and other mint errors. This is exactly where prices can explode, and this is why people are suddenly talking about insane values online. Let me be very clear, so nobody says later they were confused. A normal 2022 Maya Angelou quarter in average condition is usually worth face value. But an error coin, a flawless high-grade coin, or a rare variation can be a completely different story. Some sellers and collectors claim prices go into thousands, tens of thousands, and yes, you even see listings claiming millions of dollars. I'm not saying every coin is worth that, but I am saying people are actively trying to sell and buy them at high prices, and that alone tells you the demand is real. This coin weighs about 5.67 grams, just like a standard modern U.S. quarter, and it's made of a copper core with a nickel outer layer. Nothing seems special at first glance, and that's the trap. The most valuable coins in history often looked ordinary to the people who spent them. Power doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers. If your coin has a strange shine, unusual thickness, missing edge reads, double lettering, or anything that looks off, you might be holding something far more serious than pocket change. People keep asking, since when is this coin rare? The honest answer is, since the day collectors realized its historical importance and started discovering errors. Modern coins have become rare fast, especially when demand grows faster than supply of perfect or error examples. That's why you see sudden hype. That's why people are confused. And that's why I say, don't ignore what you already have. I am not here to sell you fake dreams. And I'm also not here to tell you to believe every claim you see online. Ignore false stories. Ignore blind hype. But don't ignore opportunity. If you have this coin, get it checked. Compare it. Research it. You can list it on coin auctions. You can try platforms like eBay. You can even sell through Facebook collector groups. People are doing it every single day. Some fail, some succeed. But those who never try already decided their fate. Think about this for a second. Why are you confused? If the coin is in your possession, the risk is almost zero. The upside, however, could be massive if it turns out to be an error or a high-grade specimen. This is how overnight stories are born, not by magic, but by awareness. One coin, one decision, one listing, and suddenly your life feels different. And yes, I'll say it again so it sinks in. I am not joking. I am not playing with your emotions. Coins have made people rich before, and they will do it again. Not for everyone, but for those who pay attention. This Maya Angelou quarter is not just metal. It's history, demand, emotion, and timing combined. That combination is powerful, and power in the coin world often equals money. So before you scroll away, before you spend that quarter without thinking, take a breath and look at it again, because sometimes what looks small in your hand can turn into something very big in your life. Coin number 2. Imagine this. You're holding a simple quarter in your hand, something you might have ignored your whole life, something that passed through millions of pockets without anyone noticing. And yet this exact 2002 Tennessee Musical Heritage Quarter could be the reason some people went from normal life to luxury almost overnight. I'm not here to joke. I'm not here to waste your time. And I'm definitely not exaggerating for fun. What I'm about to tell you is a kind of story that separates people who listen carefully from people who scroll way too fast and regret it later. This quarter was released in 2002 as part of the United States 50 State Quarters program, and Tennessee was honored for its legendary musical heritage. The guitar, the trumpet, the fiddle, the stars, and the bold musical heritage message weren't just decoration. They turned this coin into a cultural symbol. Philadelphia minted millions of these coins, yes, but rarity is not always about low mintage. It's about what went wrong, what changed, and what survived unnoticed for years. From the very moment this coin entered circulation, a few special pieces quietly separated themselves from the rest. Now here's where people get confused, and I want you to listen very carefully. Most people think only old coins are valuable. That thinking has kept people poor in knowledge. This quarter weighs about 5.67 grams, made of copper nickel clad. Standard size, standard look, unless something is different. And that different is where power lives. Certain 2002 Tennessee quarters were struck with mint errors, die cracks, double dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or even wrong planchet errors. These are not fairy tales. These are auction-documented facts. I'm not joking when I say this, and I want this line to hit you hard. One single rare error coin can be worth more than years of hard work. Some error quarters are sold for tens of thousands, some for hundreds of thousands, and in extreme museum-level one-of-kind cases, collectors have paid amounts that enter the seven-figure conversation. Millions are not for normal coins. Millions are for the mistakes that should never have existed. And that's why this coin is powerful, because a mistake turns metal into money. People laugh when they hear this. Then they stay broken information. Serious collectors don't laugh. They search. They use magnifying glasses, digital scales, and patience. If your 2002 Tennessee quarter shows unusual thickness, missing details, double letters, strange alignment, or feels heavier or lighter than normal, that is not something to ignore. That is something to protect. That is something that belongs in an auction house, not in your pocket. And listen, don't let fake stories distract you. I'm telling you clearly, not every Tennessee quarter is rare. Not every one is valuable. Don't fall for lies, but don't close your eyes either. If you actually have an error coin, this is where your life can change direction. These coins are sold in major coin auctions, on eBay with proper verification. And yes, even through Facebook collector groups when handled smartly. The rich don't hide opportunities. They hide knowledge. Some of you are confused right now, and that confusion is expensive. Why are you confused if the coin is already in your possession? If you have it, use it. Get it checked, get it graded, get it authenticated. One smart move can be worth more than years of guessing. People who took action sold similar error quarters and never looked back. Others laughed it off and spent it on coffee. Decide which story you want to tell later. This coin carries drama because it was born normal and became special by accident. That accident is what collectors chase. That accident is what turned the 25-cent piece into a headline-making sale. When you hear someone say it's just a quarter, remember this moment and remember this truth. History errors and rarity don't ask for permission to change lives. I'm not here to give false hope. I'm here to give direction. If you hear nonsense, ignore it. If you see real signs, act fast. Coins like this don't knock twice. They sit quietly, waiting for the right eyes. And if you're still watching this, maybe those eyes are yours. So don't scroll away thinking this is a joke. I'm not joking. I'm telling you straight. That small Tennessee quarter in your hand could be nothing, or it could be everything. The difference is knowledge, timing, and courage. Check your coins. Protect the rare ones. And if you truly find the right error, don't hesitate. Because sometimes overnight wealth doesn't come from hard labor. It comes from paying attention. People laugh when they hear this, but listen carefully and don't skip even 1 second. Because what I'm about to tell you is the reason thousands of Americans suddenly started checking their old change jars again. The United States quarter dollar, the Bay State Liberty 2000 P, a coin most people have touched, but very few have truly looked at. And that mistake alone may have already cost someone a fortune. This coin officially entered circulation in the year 2000 under the 50 state quarters program, representing Massachusetts, known as the Bay State. On the surface, it looks simple: a colonial Minuteman, a calm design, a clean strike from the Philadelphia Mint marked with small p. But history has a habit of hiding power in plain sight, and this coin is a perfect example of that silent danger. Now pause here for a moment, because this is where people get confused. Millions of these coins were minted, yes, and that's exactly why people throw them away mentally. But rarity is not always about how many were made. Sometimes it's about how they were made wrong. And this is where the story takes a very uncomfortable turn for anyone who ever ignored their pocket change. The standard weight of this quarter is 5.67 grams, a copper-nickel clad composition. But collectors around the world have reported versions that don't match expectations. Slightly off-center strikes, die cracks, double impressions, missing details, coins that feel normal at first until a tray knife freezes and says one sentence that changes everything. This is not normal. Online, you'll see wild claims. Some people shouting millions of dollars. Some saying overnight wealth. Some calling it the most powerful modern quarter ever made. And listen to me very clearly right now. Ignore fake stories. Ignore blind hype. Ignore anyone who promises guaranteed money. I'm not joking, and I'm not here to lie to you. The potential is real, but only under very specific conditions. Here's the truth most people don't tell you. A regular 2000 P-Bay State quarter is common, but a verified mint error, authenticated and graded, is a completely different creature. Certain error types have sold for thousands, and in extreme historical cases across U.S. coinage, rare error quarters have reached life-changing prices at major auctions. That's why collectors never say, "This coin is nothing," until it's examined. Imagine this dialogue for a second. You, it's just a quarter. Expert, long silence. Where did you get this? That pause alone tells you everything. Because at that moment, the coin is no longer money, it's evidence. People ask, can this coin be sold? Yes, legally and openly. Coin auctions, eBay, Facebook collector groups, specialized numismatic platforms. But here's the mistake beginners make. They rush. They post blurry photos. They price it emotionally. And they attract scammers instead of serious buyers. If you think you have something unusual, the power is in patience, not panic. And let me be blunt, because this matters. This coin will not make everyone rich. But it has made some people very uncomfortable when they realize what they spent. That's the fear that drives this market. The fear of missing out. The fear that wealth already passed through your hands without permission. So ask yourself this honestly. Why are you confused? Why are you hesitating? If this coin is sitting in your drawer, doing nothing, what exactly are you protecting? Dust? If there's even a 1% chance it carries an error, the smartest move is verification. not denial. Opportunity doesn't knock loudly, it whispers. I'm not joking. I'm not selling dreams. I'm not promising miracles. But I am telling you this. History has proven again and again that ordinary people became wealthy not because they chased money, but because they recognized value when others laughed. And the 2000 P-Bay State Quarter has already proven it can do exactly that, under the right conditions. So don't believe every viral claim. Don't trust every screenshot. But also don't be the person who ignored a possibility because it sounded unbelievable. Check your coins. Weigh them. Look closely. Because sometimes what looks like spare change is actually a test, and most people fail it.